Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Knitting Pickle Podcast. My name is Laura. I'm a knitter, I'm a knitwear designer, and I live in the UK in the Midlands with my husband and my 2 children. I am not prepared today. It's been a little while. I've not been able to film for about a month, and I didn't think I was going to be able to film today, but here we are. Basically, it was the nursery half term, the Easter holidays for 2 weeks, and then last week we had an electrician in doing our lighting, and he was supposed to come again today, but he can't. So here I am, I'm able to film. It is a gloomy day and a rainy day, so you might be able to hear the rain. A lot of you tell me that you like the noise of the rain, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. I've also had a little play about with my camera settings to, give this warm glow. Believe me, it's not warm in here today. So yeah, I'm very, very unprepared. So this might be a little bit rambly, but I've been really, really wanting to film for ages, but life just kept getting in the way. So obviously the universe was listening to me today, because this morning I was like, I really don't want to have the electrician here today. I'm tired, I've not had much sleep, I've been solo parenting, and I just need to not have somebody in my house today. So thank you, universe, for listening. I'm also waiting for a phone call today, so I might get interrupted at some point. I'm gonna put my phone on silent. There we go. So, what have we got for you today? I have got a few finished objects, quite a few whips. So yeah, it's going to be a whip heavy one today, and a couple of new things that I've not shared before. But before we get into all the knitting projects, I've got a few things to talk about. Firstly, it has officially been a year since episode 1 of the Knitting Pickle Podcast. And that honestly blows my mind, because life was very different a year ago. Our house has completely changed in that time. I feel like I've completely changed. I've been on a major mental health journey, learning about my autism and recovering from eating disorders. And I just feel like if I could go back to Laura a year ago and say, this time next year, you'll be on episode 17 and you will have released your first garment design and you'll be calling yourself a knitwear designer, I'll be like, no chance, because that girl back then would not have thought of that of herself. Would not have thought that of herself. So yay, 1 year, woohoo! I really wanted to do an episode on the actual anniversary, but life, so never mind. So thank you to everyone who's been here from day one and to everyone who's joined since. It's an honour, truly. Speaking of releases, the last thing I uploaded was a video on the day of the release of the Souffle. Oh my god, I don't have the original Souffle with me here, but I will, with the magic of editing, put a picture in for you. If you've been here for a while, you'll know all about it by now. I'm not going to bang on about it, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all your support. God, I'm gonna cry. Obviously, I was hoping for a good, what's the word? Oh, it's there. I was hoping that it would be good. I was hoping that lots of people would buy it, because obviously that's the point. And I had a little goal for myself. I was like, if I reach this amount, then I can do this. And we reached that goal in 2 days and have since doubled that goal. And it's just, yeah, thank you for all your support. I've seen people have already finished them. I'm seeing the new ones in the hashtag almost every day. And it's just, I could not have hoped for more for someone who has been I never thought that I could achieve very much for myself, personally. So to have done something, worked really hard at it, and for it to have been a success, then yeah, thank you so much. And the success of the Souffle, what I wanted to do was to invest in a laptop, because up until now I've been working on my phone, on a really old iPad, and on my husband's work laptop, and it's not been the one. I never know wherever a file is, and it's just not been good. So I have been able to buy myself a laptop. I bought a refurbished one actually, because I just basically needed to make like Word documents and InDesign files. So I didn't need it to be anything fancy. So I thought, oh, let's have a look. And I got myself a refurbished MacBook. So now my whole process of designing is a million times easier. And since the release of the Souffle, I have done so much more work in the past month than I would have been able to do before. So thank you for helping me invest in my business and my future. And there's loads more to come, I promise. So speaking of that, we should probably move on to the projects, and we'll start with what I'm wearing. I was working on this in my last video, which was a unpopular knitting opinions video, and you guys loved it, and I loved hearing all your other opinions in the comments, so thank you for all of that. But yes, I have finished it. I'm wearing it. This is the summer souffle. You're gonna hear the word souffle reasonable today, but I won't dwell on this one for too long because I have talked about it before. This is made using the Knitting for Olive cotton merino held double. So it's a fingering weight yarn, but this is a DK weight pattern, and I had like 3 balls of it in stash, so I did have to buy some more, and I think I ended up using 5 balls for my size, which is a size 3. Yeah, size 3? I think it might be between a 3 and a 4, because this is my sample. The actual written ones, I think, are slightly different. So we're about between a 3 and a 4 here-ish. So yeah, I used 5 balls, and it's in the colour Dark Sage, I think. And OMG, not normally my colour at all. I've never been one for khaki. I don't think it's ever really suited me, but now my hair is kind of reasonably blonde. I think it works really, really well. And also this is quite a warm khaki. Like, I find khaki can normally be quite a cool colour, but this has definitely got a warmth to it and a darkness to it, which I really, really like. And I've worn this loads. So how is this different from the original souffle? Obviously the original souffle is in mohair, but the original souffle has an I-cord neckline with a keyhole, and it has super poofy, well, not super poofy, but reasonably poofy sleeves with a folded hem on the arm cuff and on the body. This, I wanted it to be more like a t-shirt, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more casual. So I went with a ribbed neckline and a cuff and body hem, and I took the poof out of the sleeves. I wanted a much more kind of fitted t-shirt kind of vibe, something like that you can throw on with a pair of jeans or with a nice skirt, or you could, you know, put a load of makeup on and go out for the evening in it. Just something a little bit more kind of versatile. And I actually feel like the original souffle is quite versatile, more versatile than I thought it would be, but I think this one is definitely more like cash, whereas the original souffle is like smart cash. This souffle comes in 12 sizes. The original comes in 10, and the reason this comes in 12 sizes is because I wanted to eliminate that kind of in-between sizes thing. Because it's a fitted sleeve, I wanted to be able to like give more people the ability to get a size that fits their bust and their arm as possible. Obviously that's not always completely possible, because something I've learned is that bicep circumference in relation to bust circumference, there is no standard. There is a standard, there's an average, but it's such a personal thing. So with the original souffle, you have the ability to completely personalize your upper bicep and your wrist, because the design kind of meant that I could do that quite easily. Whereas with this one, it's not as easy to personalize the upper bicep circumference. So I wanted to give more options just as a get-go. But what I'm also going to be doing, because this is now about to go into testing, I've done the test call, I've been through, I think I had 333 applicants, and I think I've looked through 220 of them. So I've got a few more to look through, which I'm going to do later on today, and then I'll let everybody know some point soon. But I have already arranged with one of my previous testers that she is going to help me test and figure out how to personalize the arm circumference, because there is a way of doing it. It's just going to take a little bit of thinking and we're going to really have to figure out a way of explaining it that makes it easy to understand. So that is being sorted, and hopefully it will be part of the final pattern, because if you've known me for a while, you will know that size inclusivity is mega important to me, and not just having, oh, there's a blue tit, hello little friend. And not just having bigger sizes. Size inclusivity to me is thinking about how proportions are different and doing everything I physically can within the confines of a design to make that design, to give people the information they need to personalize that design to get an arm circumference or like whatever it is. So yeah, that's the summer souffle. It's going to be a really short test. It's only going to be 4 weeks because I'm only asking for the yoke and 1 sleeve. And the reason I'm only asking for that is because this is the 4th souffle to be tested now. And what I've learned is that pretty much everybody does their own body length anyway. So I don't really need to know that from the testers. The main thing, and because the body is just like straight down and ribbed, that's it. There's nothing special about it. All I really need to know is that the numbers for the yoke work. I've really refined my yardage calculator now, so I'm confident that my yardages are correct. So yeah, short test. So this should hopefully be with you in June. Oh, that's my phone call. Bear with. Back in the room. That was quite a long phone call, so I've completely forgotten where I left off, but I think we'd come to the end of the summer souffle chat. So yes, there we are. It should be out in June, so keep your eyes peeled. And also, since I last filmed, the petite souffle, which is the children's version, has also gone into testing. It's being tested right now, and that is also looking like a June release. And one other thing, the chunky souffle, the test has finished, but I've decided to delay that release until September. Basically because it's becoming summer, and it just doesn't feel right releasing this super chunky garment now. I had a chat with my test knitters about it and checked how they felt and all that kind of thing, and I just thought, yeah, we're going to delay it. But I'm going to release the petite souffle because it's a DK weight, and I find children's things are kind of a little bit less seasonal. I mean, I still put my kids in jumpers sometimes in the evenings or first thing in the morning, or, you know, because the sizes are quite broad, you knit something for a child and it should last them at least a year or two, so you kind of knit in advance. Anyway, let's move on. This is technically my only finished object, but I do have a kind of finished object and a half finished object. The first one I'll show you is not my design. Yes, I felt like knitting somebody else's design. I found out a while ago that one of my dear friends is pregnant, and we recently found out that she's having a little girl. So I was like, right, let's get knitting, shall we? And I haven't done the second one, but I have done the one. And I have made a little booty. I will hold it a bit closer for you. This is the pantoffel sock by, I don't know if it's Steffi or St. Effie. I can't really tell because her name on Instagram is Steffi Habakan, but her like branding is like st.effie. So is it St. Effie or is it Steffi? I'm not sure, but I will link everything in the description box below, of course. And I first saw these from the lovely Simone from Russ Knitwear. She's just had a baby and she made these, and I thought they're such a I just thought they were a really nice modern take on a baby booty. My friend's baby is due in September, so we're going to be getting into booty season, and it's quite simple. I mean, I haven't weaved the ends in yet, but this is going to be tricky because it's going to want to focus on my face. It's a ribbed cuff, and then you basically increase down here, and then you work a garter stitch base. And I knit this in about less than 3 hours maybe. The pattern I did was the English translation, and there were a few bits that weren't quite right, but I was able to figure it out. One bit made me laugh. It referred to, because you have the right and the wrong side of the fabric, it referred to the wrong side as the left side. which I thought was quite funny, and obviously not crucial to the pattern. But yeah, I think it could definitely do with a little bit of an update on the English one, but totally knittable. I used my leftover yarn from my Chantilly cardigan, which is the Filcolana Saga, and this is Lanagatto mohair. Yeah, and I had loads of it left over, and I thought perfect for a little girl, this nice kind of purpley pastely vibe, and a good way of using up my scraps. Speaking of which, go and check out Caroline of Caroline's Knits latest podcast, because she is starting a very casual knit along called the Oddball Along, which is all about using up your scraps and using up leftover yarn to make a project that isn't necessarily like all your scraps in one go, like a scrappy jumper. And I think this pattern would be perfect for that. I haven't weighed this, but you need very little fabric, you need very little yarn, and they're super cute. Like, what new mum wouldn't want a pair of these? So that's my like half finished object. And the other kind of finished object, kind of whip, is something that I had an idea for a while ago, and it kind of evolved as I made it, and I needed like a palette cleanser, but I wasn't in the mood for socks. So I thought, let's give this random thing a go. And I have a finished one and a half finished one, because the first one I didn't really work out. Kind of did, but kind of didn't. I learnt a lot from it basically. But I have made a little knitted bag, and you could say it's a souffle bag because it has the signature ruffle on the top. This is another reason why I need to make another one, because this colour is impossible to capture, but I will do my best. It has a crochet butt. The bum of it is crochet. I am not a crocheter by like trade, but I can crochet. I've learnt to crochet, and this is like this kind of quite a simple thing. You just did a magic circle, and then just like increased it till I got the amount that I want. And then I picked up the stitches around the edge, knit upwards, and then I made like a little channel by knitting, doing a purl row, folding it and knitting it down like you would a folded cuff. But I also made sure I had like 2 little holes for this I-cord drawstring, and then I just ended it with your typical souffle ruffle. For this I've got loads of this Rowan Valley tweed, loads of this navy. I've got loads of it in like a reddish kind of colour, both of which I got on sale, and I don't know what to do with them. So I thought, well, I might as well. And I held it with a strand of, this is the Sadness Garn Tin Silk Mohair, I think. I bought this because I was like, well, if I can find a mohair to match this, then maybe I'll get inspired to make a sweater or something out of it. And it was just like, look at that, absolutely bang on match. And I really like this combination, and I might use it eventually. My mum really likes navy, so I might make something for my mum with it. But I thought, well, it's quite like a stiff dry yarn, the Valley tweed, so I thought it would be really good for a bag, and it is, I guess. But yeah, that was the prototype. So then I was like, I want something in a much lighter colour. I think I want a softer fabric. I want a bigger base, and I'm going to do something different with the ruffle. And so we've got this version, which just doesn't really look like much, does it? And it's handy because you can keep, it's your project is your own project bag. So for this one, I used 2 strands of Filcolana Arvetta in 318. It's like the ballet baby pink. Basically, I had loads of this left over. Held with this hand-dyed mohair, which was left over from my love note. I no longer have my love note. I gave it to my mum because I didn't wear it. But I believe this was from Dina or Dinah's Home of Craft, World of Craft, something like that. But anyway, it's gorgeous, and I really like it in this context. Like, I wouldn't wear it, but I think, I mean, what a nicer way to like show off a fun mohair. So like I said, I went bigger on the base this time, and this fabric is a lot like floppier, but I think I prefer that. I haven't done the I-cord yet, and I haven't finished the ruffle, but I'm also doing the ruffle backwards this time, and I can't remember why. I think it had something to do with the increases. Who knows? This was basically my car project. I recently went up to Manchester with my husband to see some friends, and you'll see a little bit more about what I bought up there. And yeah, this was just great for car knitting. I basically did this in the whole like way there and way back, but I haven't picked it up since because I've been distracted by other things. But yeah, I just thought, like I said, like a bit of fun. When I first kind of started seeing knitted bags, I was a bit like, why? But I mean, I just think they're a bit of fun, and at the very least I can keep projects in them. Good for like socks. I wanted them to have like the drawstring I-cord so that you can hold it on your wrist and potentially knit and walk with them, or just have it as like, you know, cute little like fancy, I'm so extra with my knitted bag. Who am I? So yeah, there you go. Souffle bag, maybe. Will this become a thing? Dunno. It's fun to knit on. Maybe I'll release it. Not sure. But there you go. It's my first whip. And then next up, speaking of Manchester, when I went to Manchester, we went on a night out and I had lots of cocktails and had a really fun time, and because I'm a grown-up now, I made sure to have plenty of water breaks and had a decent night's sleep, and woke up in the morning and took myself off on a little walk to go to Souffle. That's a very British English way of pronouncing it. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to try. Or should I try? It's like Souffle. God, I'm so sorry. Caroline knows, and even Lizzie knows, but yeah, I went to Souffle basically, which is this like Danish homeware, like grotto of joy. It's almost like tiger mixed with Oliver Bonus with like a little bit of Cath Kidston. It's really hard to explain, but you walk in there and it's just like, the displays are beautiful and there's everything in there. There's tea, there's snacks, there's homeware, there's children's things, and of course there is a craft section, and they have their own yarn, which is why I went there, of course. And if you go and have a little look at Lizzie from Hive Knits like stash video, she's got a few yarns from there which she can show you too. And when I got there, unfortunately there wasn't very much in the way of yarn, and they had quite a lot of acrylic, which I wasn't in the market for at the time. But they did have this whole wall of cotton, and I was like, well, do you know what? Let's have a little look. I don't normally knit in cotton, but we're getting into the warmer months now. And I picked it up, and it just feels really, really soft. I sometimes find cotton can feel quite dry, but this was like, it just has a smoothness, and it is 100% organic cotton. And for some reason, unbeknownst to me, I was massively attracted to this periwinkle blue. I would never say that I'm a blue person. I'm not normally drawn to blue, but recently I've become a lot more drawn to blue, especially like baby blue, cornflower blue, periwinkle blue. There's kind of like bright, but like almost like the warmer of the blues. Like it's not overly like cool. And again, I think since my hair colour has changed, I'm a lot more like, yeah, blue and blonde. It's nice. I've got blue eyes. Like, I'm opening my world up to blue. And yeah, really, really drawn to this. And I cast it on before I'd even got home. I cast it on in the car on the way back. I did a little gauge swatch in the car. And even though I didn't like wash it, I was like, I'm going to risk it and go for it. And that burnt me in the end, which I'll tell you about. But I had I was like, I want to make a cami. I didn't make one last year. I'd really like a knitted cami, and I think this blue cotton, it would be perfect for the summer, right? So I scoured Ravelry and I looked at lots of different camis, and I was just like, none of these are particularly hitting. I really like them. My favourite things knitwear camis, and I'd like to make some of those in the future, but I just wasn't really in the mood for a whole load of 3mm rib. It's all 2x2 rib, right? And I was just like, no, I can't. So I thought, let's just give it a go. Let's just have a go at making one myself. And I'm really pleased with the results. Now, you're going to be well and truly shocked by this. Like, hold on to your hats. You're going to have your mind blown. Souffle, Cami, anyone? I'm sorry, I know you're probably all really sick of that word. I'm even sick of saying it, but I was like, yeah, I have to. So it started off as just like a plain cami, like triangle front, triangle back, and the front triangle, though you can't see it, it's a little bit, the front triangle is basically lower and shallower, and the back triangle is like a bit higher. I haven't yet decided if I'm gonna run an I-cord along the inside of the back. I really quite like the kind of natural finished edge that I've achieved with it. It took a few goes to get the placement of my increases right, but I did go ahead and pick up the stitches for the front and do a little ruffle, and I was a bit unsure, like, do we really want a ruffle like right here? Is it going to be like but I mean, it might be a bit for some people, but I really like it. So there you go, and I'm obsessed with the colour. I've had to rip this back quite a few times, excuse me, because I initially cast, even though I like did my gauge swatch and like worked out my like stitches for the bust, I did that and it was way too big. I cast on like 20 stitches on the underarm, and it was like way too much. It was hanging off me, so I massively reduced that, and I think I've got the fit pretty much there. My straps are actually a little bit too long. I need to unpick them and remove some of the I-cord, but overall we're pretty much there. Shall I put it on? Shall I put it on? Yes, put it on. Oh my god, so many ends. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit low down, but yeah, you don't really need to see beyond that point because it's just body, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling it. I like it. Yeah, I could do with just it going up just to like a teeny bit, just a wincy bit more, because it's quite, my straps mean it's quite low on the underarm here, and I would like it to kind of be in line with where your natural bra would be, so you've not got your bra hanging out. So yeah, just a little bit higher on the straps, but I'm feeling it. I really like this blue. I feel like it's dishwasher. I feel like it suits me, and I feel like the ruffle, because it's fingering weight, all ruffles previous have been DK weight, or actually no, original souffle is like lace weight ruffle, but I was worried that the ruffle would be too much, but I really think it's just, yeah, I really like it, and I've really surprised myself. So now I've just got to make my way through like 10 inches of stockinette on 3mm needles. Yay for me. But I'm in no rush with this. I think realistically this is not something that's gonna go to market this year. Like, I mean, I could probably get it to testing like now, but this is a new construction to me. There's going to be a lot of newness in this pattern, so therefore the edit's probably going to take a little while, and therefore I would also like to give my testers lots and lots of time, because there is likely to be changes. Like the original souffle, there were some pretty major changes that happened throughout the test, and that needed to happen, and it was great. But what that meant was all the souffle since, the tests have been like whew, really easy, barely any changes, because I learned everything from that first one. And I feel like this is probably going to be a similar deal. Like this one might have quite a lengthy development process, but all the camis that come after that might be all right. So yeah, realistically, this is probably going to be one for next year in terms of release. And it's just going to be something for me to have this year for myself. Right, I'm getting a bit cold, bear with. So I've had a little bit of a break from working on this. I've had a little bit of a break from knitting in general, but I'll get onto that later in the knitty chat. But this is making me feel excited to get it going again. I mean, we had some beautiful summer, spring weather, and now it's all gone. But I'm sure it will be back soon. So I'd like to have this ready to go. I mean, imagine it. I mean, it's quite a cute little bralette, actually. Oh, is there a souffle bralette in my future? Maybe, but with like crisp white shorts, or like a floaty skirt, or even just some jeans. Like, yeah, souffle cami, baby. Whilst we are on the summer knits, I've got one thing to talk about. In the last episode, I showed you a new design that I was working on, and it had a really great reception. Loads of people saying they really liked it. And it's the Milfoil, which is a raglan. I mean, I'm gonna put it on. This is like how many Beyonce changes. Let's do like a fun transition. Ta-da! God knows if that worked. I'm gonna look like a right idiot if it doesn't. So yeah, this is my Milfoil. I was talking about it in my last episode. It is made with All Cut Yarns Opus, which is stunning. Gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. It's a sport weight, and I basically had one skein of the yellow, one skein of the white, and I had a plan for it. Didn't work out, didn't know what to do with it, so kind of had a little play about with this and was like, yes, this is the one. And I bought some more of the white, and the Milfoil was born. And you can kind of see, like, from here it's all right. It's kind of, yeah, you can see where I'm going with it. However, further down, yeah, it's way too big. I properly gauge swatched for this, in that I swatched the raglan increases, I swatched the stockinette, well, not stockinette, the main body of it. Oh, sun's coming out, Jesus. We've gone from being all warm and gloomy to like definitely overexposed. Sorry, I hope that will hopefully go in a minute. Yeah, I did all the proper swatching, washed it, measured it, everything. And this fabric, because I'll just give you a little close up. It's basically stripes and garter stripes at the same time. It's really stretchy this way, and I totally took that into account. But I definitely underestimated the, is it lateral? The stretch this way. There is loads. I don't know why it's so stretchy. I'm starting to wonder if maybe my needle size is a little bit too big. But yeah, you can see that we've just got far too much going on here, and it's only going to grow with washing. I wanted kind of, my kind of ease of preference is like 2 to 4 inches, but this is way more than that. And I actually wanted kind of, I was aiming for slightly less ease on this, but yeah, we have problems. So when I was doing the raglan increases, you increase either size, and then when you get to the sleeve, like circumference that you like, bearing in mind your cast on stitches, oh my gosh, we are so blown out. Right, can I do something about this? No, I can't do something about this. Sorry. I'm just going to chat for a little while anyway. So yeah, you increase on the sleeves and on the body, and then when the sleeves are at the point that you want them to be, I stopped increasing on the sleeves and continued increasing on the body. And basically I just needed to stop both increases here and then just continue to get a bit more length. So I know what I need to do. Oh my god, so blown out. I know what I need to do to change it, but I've lost like complete mojo on this. I need to do a lot of ripping back. Not completely rip back, I need to rip back to the point, to about here, basically, which means ripping back both sleeves and all the body. And this is on 3.5mm needles. That's a little better. It's on 3.5mm needles, so it's quite a slow knit, but I know that it will be better in the long run. The thing I'm currently toying with is, do I start the whole thing again and kind of address this? I can't decide how I feel about the neckline yet. That is short row shaping. The short row shaping is in the ribbed collar, because basically you can see it's like slightly deeper there. If I did traditional short rows, I would have like wedges of stripes along the top that weren't like sorted. So I thought, I've seen this trick a few times where you put the short rows in the collar. I'll just give that a go. But I think I could do with maybe a little bit more short row nuss, because we've got quite a straight neck here. The other thing that's stopping me from fiddling about with it is that when the whole garment is finished and washed, it will relax a bit more and the weight will pull it down. It could be just fine, but for now, I don't know. So as far as progress on this design, I'm not too sure where I'm going to go with it. This is ridiculous. I'm going to shut the curtains. I'm attached to my yarn. A little bit better. Source guys, maybe I can do something post-edit. So yeah, realistically, this like lightweight t-shirt design is not gonna be done already in time for a summer release this year, but we'll see how I feel about it. I found it, we got it, I got the levels. I really need to learn how to use my camera. So yeah, that's the Milfoil. It's gonna get there eventually, I think. I do have plans for like a mohair wintry version, long sleeve, slightly larger gauge, more like 4mm, 4.5 even maybe, not sure, when I have the yarn ready to go for it. But for now, this one, we probably won't see it for a little while now. Moving on to my final whip. I've only got one left. No idea how long I've been filming for, we'll see. And this one I've actually made quite a lot of progress on, but it's been a while since I picked it up. And I'm also going to pop it on for you maybe. So I originally bought this yarn, which is the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the colour Soft Cognac. I bought like 6 balls of it a while ago, intending to make a vest with it. I've still got that vest idea floating about, but at the time I couldn't make it work, and my brain just was like, no, it's not the time, maybe later, we'll see. But I really wanted, like, I still wanted to make a similar thing with this. Basically I bought this for cables. I was like, I want to do something cabled, I'm in the mood for cables. I really like cables in white and I really like cables in brown, so let's give this a go. I'd also never used any Knitting for Olive before, and I bought this and this stuff at the same time. Both of which I didn't buy enough of at the time, so I've had to buy some since. However, absolute props to Knitting for Olive. I bought this directly from Knitting for Olive, so it's come from Denmark. The shipping was like really quick, and I bought my first load of this like a couple of, like 2-3 months ago, and when I ordered my second lot of this, I put in the notes the dye lot, and they matched the dye lot. How good is that? So yeah, fucking Knitting for Olive, man. Thanks. So I had this idea for this cable vest. I could make the cable vest idea work in my size, but I'm quickly learning that grading for cables is like difficult, and I now understand why there's usually a couple of sections of like seed stitch or just plain stockinette, because that is where you can fiddle about with your sizes whilst maintaining the cable pattern. So my brain couldn't get past that, so then I cast the idea on for a shawl. I thought maybe this would be really nice for like a cozy cable winter shawl. But again, like, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, because I've made exactly 3 shawls in my life. One was like a really simple one. One was what was it called? Can't remember what it was called, but it was by Cami, and it had like stripes and bubbles and a little bit of lace. And I made that for my mum, and it was pretty simple. I made the Humblebee shawl by Fibre Tales, which was a joy to knit. I made that for my mother-in-law. But again, that was mainly garter. And then I've made the shawlography, and I mean, it's just like a thing on its own. So I have very little shawl construction knowledge, so I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to try and design a shawl. And basically what I thought would work shape-wise didn't work, and I knit it like 4 or 5 times. This shawl, and ripping back and trying to change it and get it to work, but it did not work. However, what it did do was it meant I really got to know my cable pattern. So now it's like completely committed to memory, so I can just knit it without even thinking about it or looking at the chart that I made. And after going back and forth on this like shawl and vest and things, I was like, do you know what, I think I figured out how this is going to work, and how I can grade it easily and make it work for more sizes and still get the kind of cable look. And I ended up, which way round are we? That way round. I ended up going for a raglan. Hello little cable raglan with little pom-poms, bobbles as well. So yeah, shall I pop it on? Should we do another Beyonce outfit change? Oh my god. Today was not the time for like hair up. Oh lordy, it's been a while since I put this on. Oh, my battery's flashing as well. Should we just change it now? I'm really sorry for the absolute lack of professionalism in today's episode of the Knitting Pickle Podcast. Bear with. Okay, back in the room, fresh battery. So here we are. This is my cabled raglan. Doesn't have a name yet. I've got a few ideas floating around, but let me know if you can think of a fun, preferably patisserie themed name. And so I will give you a little close-up of the actual cable texture. It's basically quite a simple cable, but I wanted the look of like lots of cable texture, but without actually having to do too much cabling. It's basically the same. You've got like a cable column and then a little bobbly guy. I don't know where these came from, they just kind of felt right. And I've also like alternated the placement of them so it looks almost polka dotty. Don't know if you can see that. We have short rows. I short rowed across raglan increases with cables. Can we just? Definitely gone up a designer level. I say that it took me about 5 goes. And again, I think I could probably do with maybe just 1 or 2 more short rows, because again, we've got this kind of like straight collar thing here going on. However, I know that this one is gonna grow significantly when it gets washed, and also the weight of the sleeves and everything are going to bring it all down. So I'm not in any rush to kind of change this, and if I do change the short rows, it will all be done like mathematically. I don't actually have to re-knit it. I wanted a really big, loose, cozy vibe from this. You can't see it right now because obviously cables are really tight when you knit them, and it's gonna grow loads and loads and loads. So I'm going for oversized here. And with that in mind, I also have wanted to incorporate like a really wide, deep cuff for quite a while. I really like that look. I think it looks really relaxed, really cozy, perfect for snuggling up. So you can kind of see where we're at with that right now. There's basically no sleeve decreases at all, just a straight sleeve, and then there's also going to be no decreases around the cuff, and then a really long cuff. So yes, you can see obviously when I'm basically this is where it would naturally stop, but I want to take it to here, like between wrist knuckle and hand knuckle. Basically here, so that you can really like tuck your hands in and just get uber cozy. And I know that's quite a look, and it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but also you could quite easily rapid increase here for a balloon, or just like decrease along the inside if you wanted to. Like, that's one of the great things about knitting, right? You can hack the patterns to suit you. But for me and my design aesthetic, I'm sticking with this. And this is something I've definitely learned as a designer, is sticking with my design aesthetic. Yes, I could include instructions on how to do a decreased fitted sleeve or a fast poofy sleeve. I could totally do that, but that is not what I see for this design, and I need to stick to what I see. Also, adding on all those different instructions is going to add a lot of time to write and edit and test. So you just got to learn where it is that you want to stick with your design thing, and where you can also, you know, like let people do what they want with it. I think when it comes to maintaining fit across sizes, I want to be able to instruct where necessary, but if you want to completely change a sleeve on a design, that's up to the knitter, I think. So yeah, I'm definitely growing. So yeah, there we go. I've not worked on this for a while, and I don't know why, but I like stopped mid-rib. Normally I'd like finish the cuff and then put it down for a little while, but just lost momentum on this a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it's because it got warm. And I'm realising that when it's really, really warm, I don't want to work on wintry things. And when it's really, really cold, I do want to work on wintry things. So, like, timeline for this, what I'm thinking is I'm just going to slowly work on it at my own pace. And then kind of maybe aim for like a winter release on this one. My autumn releases coming up are going to be Chunky Souffle, and I'd also like to get the Chantilly's at that point. I want the Chantilly vest ready to go in autumn, and the cardigan maybe a month or so afterwards, or maybe I'll release them together, I don't really know. But they're going to have really long tests over the summer, as I was talking about earlier with the Cami. The Chantilly designs, which is, if you're not aware, it's like a v-neck sweater or a cardigan with a big deep collar with a ruffle all the way around the collar with like a point at the bottom, drop shoulder cardigan, poofy sleeves, mohair, cuddly, yummy, scrummy. I wear mine all the time, but because it's completely new construction for me, I want to give my test knitters plenty of time because there's going to be lots of edits. So hopefully over the whole of the summer they will be tested, ready to release in autumn, and then this will be after the Chantilly's, I think. And yeah, let me know if you can think of a name. I'm really enjoying my like patisserie theme. I never planned it, it just kind of happened, and I do have some ideas, but we'll see. Let me know what you think. So yeah, I'm gonna pop my summer souffle back on now because I'm now getting warm. What is up with the temperature today? Oh, I also need a wee. So there we go. That's all the projects that I've currently got on the go at the moment. Acquisitions, no major yarny acquisitions, but I've got a few little things I'd like to show you. When I was at Unravel, you may have seen my Unravel videos, I bought my first Hide and Hammer bag. It was the number 8 small like roll top like wrist strap bag, and I've fallen in love with it. It's there we go. I use it all the time. It's constantly like stuffed with projects because I just enjoy having it. So I thought maybe let's size up a little, and I bought myself another Hide and Hammer. Oopsie. And I was looking on the website and I was like, I want something that can hold a sweater or a big project or a few little projects. And this is going to sound totally extra, but I also wanted something that would go with my living room. Because basically there's always like at least 2 knitting projects somewhere, either on the floor or on a chair or somewhere, and I was like, I want somewhere I can put everything in and it look pretty in my living room. As you can see, we have this like tan leather, I nearly said couch. We have this tan leather sofa, and oh yes, I forgot to mention we have a new print. This is not normally here. Very clever of you if you know who it's by. It's William Morris. But we've got quite a cozy, like leather wood vibe in the living room, and I wanted something to match. So I got this guy. Now I can't remember what it's called. Where are you? There we are. So this is the number 5 tan oilskin caddy, and oh my god, it was an investment, but I don't regret a single penny. It's amazing. So it's this, I mean, I really like oilskin leather. It feels really, really nice. And the thing I like most about this is it's got loads of pockets, and they are all different sizes, and they are all on the outside. Design genius. So it's got a big one here, which has got some circular needles in, 2 little guys here. This side it's split into 2 portions, and this side you've got a big one, and it is just so handy because when the interior is filled up with yarn and the projects and stuff, sometimes getting the things from the inside pockets is a bit tricky. So to have them on the outside, it's, oh my god, like so handy. It's sat by my little chair that I knit in, and everything is to hand, and it looks wicked. And all my like mud things that I've got, hashtag ad gifted, thank you Simona, that I think they all, even though they're different leathers, I think they go quite nicely. And it's got the lovely like leather straps with the little Hide and Hammer thing, which are also removable, though I don't know why you would want to remove them. So yeah, that was one little acquisition. If you're looking to invest in a lifelong bag, then I highly recommend Hide and Hammer. And Jonathan, you can explain that to my husband when he looks at the bank account. So yeah, highly recommend all Hide and Hammer bags. They're gorgeous. Didn't plan to have this acquisition, but it arrived, so let's have a look. So since finishing this, I kind of want one for P. P is my daughter, Penny, and she has her petite souffle, but obviously it's getting a bit warm for her to wear that. So I thought, I don't know if I will make it an actual pattern for this year, but I thought I might as well make P her own summer souffle and see how it kind of works out. And I thought, well, I've also wanted to try this yarn for quite a while. Do we need to go up a little bit? I thought I've wanted to try this particular type of yarn for a while, and when I saw the colour I thought, this would go really nicely. So this is the Rowan Summer Light DK. Rowan yarns, my experience with Rowan yarns has always been really positive. I really like their yarns. They're definitely a higher price point in some cases, though I think this is quite affordable. I think it's less than £5 a ball, and it is 100% Egyptian cotton. So it's mega soft. I'd say they're pretty on par. So this is, I don't know if it's Egyptian, but the soft granite is organic cotton. And this doesn't say that it's organic, so it's not. But it's really lovely. I'm really impressed. And so I got it in this kind of like light sagey green. It's not, is it coming up right? So it's showing a little darker on camera, but I just thought it was a really nice, like in the green family, but not matchy. So I will make this for P at some point. I'm not sure when. We have finally booked a family holiday. Other than like a short weekend in Wales, we've not been on like a proper big family holiday ever. So we've booked a week in, Sherwood Forest, just in the UK. We did think about going abroad, but we decided that flights are so unreliable and expensive at the moment, and P is still quite little for flying, so we're just going to do a little staycation and we're going to Center Parcs. If you don't know what Center Parcs is, it's just like this big resort, and you have like a chalet in the woods, and there's a giant swimming pool and restaurants, and it's basically all in one place, but it's all about like outdoorsy adventure, swimming, cycling, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to Center Parcs in July. I'm very excited, can you tell? So yeah, maybe I'll make it for her for then. So there you go, that's one little acquisition. I'll let you know how I get on with that. I am now going to treat you all to a little bit of nitty chat. I have some recommendations and I have some hot new releases to share with you in a little while. Some of them are not so new anymore because I've been like making note of ones I've seen with the intention to film, but it keeps being pushed back. So some of them have been released for a little while now, but you may not know about them yet. So let's have a bit of a catch up. I mentioned earlier that I've like not been doing much knitting recently. I definitely think I've had a bit of a like slump. You could say I've lost my knitting mojo a little bit. Did I knit yesterday? Don't think I did. Did I knit the day before? Don't think I did. Basically, like, life has been quite busy, especially with the half terms. We went to Devon the weekend just past, and I've also like not been feeling 100% myself. Not mentally, I've been all right mentally actually, but physically things aren't like normal. And that was actually what my phone call was about, is a chat with the doctor. I've been feeling really tired and low on energy, a little bit shaky, and I'm going to have some blood tests, which is really, really good. Sure, everything's all right. But because of that kind of lack of energy in general, like lethargic feeling, I've not been wanting to knit, which is weird because it's like quite a chilled out, relaxing thing to do. I've just not felt like the urge that strongly. I have, however, been really like feeling the urge for like the work side of things, like the admin side of things. So I launched my petite souffle test knit. I have finished creating the final document for the chunky souffle. That's like ready to go. It's all been signed off. I just need to click upload in September. And I've also arranged and launched the test call for the summer souffle. And I tell you now, it's no mean feat organising these test knits. it's a lot, it's a lot of work. Obviously getting all the documents and the emails and the messages ready to send to people who've been chosen, but the actual process itself, and especially with each test knit now, I'm getting more and more applicants, and it takes a long time to kind of like read everybody's application, enter their details, you know, like just choosing people, it takes a long time. And I touched on this on Instagram about how I actually find it quite stressful choosing people for the test knit. For two reasons. I feel a lot of guilt. I'm a people pleaser and every time I'm like no to an applicant, I feel awful about it. And then the other feeling I have about it is I have a lot of anxiety about like, and this has never happened and no one's ever given me cause to think it might happen, but I like have a lot of anxiety over someone being like messaging me or contacting me and saying, why didn't you choose me? Like, I like applied like 4 times now, why aren't you choosing me? Like, that might not ever happen, but for me, one of my biggest fears is confrontation. I do not do well, and a lot of it comes down to my inability to communicate and to understand people, which is part of my autism, and just the fear of all of that. Like, confrontation is not the one for me. So by doing a test call, I'm opening up that opportunity for people to confront me over something. So it gives me a lot of anxiety. So I talked about this on my Instagram, and I talked to quite a few people about it, and I said to people, how do you feel about the selection process? Do you think it could be fairer? Do you have any suggestions for it? And I'm really glad I did, because it really helped bring me back down a bit. It helped me remember that in the end, I'm a business, and I'm doing this for my business, and I've got to think business mindedly, and I need to try and not feel so personal about it all. So many people message me saying like, don't worry about it, like you can't pick everyone, you physically can't, and you need to choose the people that are gonna help you with your business. And a lot of the time that's people who have already tested for me, because I need people I can trust. I need people who I know are gonna do the gauge swatches, who are going to give me the feedback I need, who are going to help me and support me, not hold back. I choose people I've worked with before because I know they're going to be like, Laura, that's not right, this isn't right, this doesn't feel right. Like, they're not going to be like, because I know personally I felt quite a few times I've not wanted to raise things with designers because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I think you might be wrong. And that's probably just me, but I don't want people to do that towards me. I want people to feel confident in telling me if they think something's not right. And also, unfortunately, I get ghosted quite a lot. I will choose people and then they receive their first pattern and then I don't hear from them again. It's always okay if someone wants to withdraw from a test knit. That is totally fine. I'm not going to make you pay for the pattern or anything like that. I understand, it's fine. But quite often, unfortunately, I send out the pattern and I never hear from them again, which is ridiculous because the pattern is in like not the final state, it's in like a raw text only state and it's probably wrong. So I just need to be really careful when I choose people, and it's just, it's quite an intense process for me. So I've kind of really like pushed myself into that side of things recently, and I feel like I'm in a better place with it now. And going forward, test knit wise, my plan is to create a mailing list. I've looked into it, I've not figured out how I'm going to be able to do it yet, but basically instead of doing a big public Instagram test call and then there being hundreds of applicants and it's just too overwhelming for me, I'm going to like have a list of people who have previously tested for me, and you can apply to be on like the mailing list, and I will then have a look and either add you or not. And then I will do like a private call to that mailing list of pre-approved people, just to kind of ease the process for me a little bit. But there will always be a public call as well, because I want to give plenty of people the opportunity to. If I had the same test knitters every time for every test, I run the risk of them getting used to my writing style and then missing things because they kind of preempt what it is, and you can't edit your own work, right? So like using the same test knitters every time also wouldn't be a good idea. So there will always be an opportunity for like a open call, but it will probably just be for specific sizes. That's the other thing. Oh my gosh, like for this test call, like 90% of them were for sizes 3 and 4, and like that's a lot of people to say no to. So if I can fill those easily without having to go through that process, I will, and then I'll open up the other sizes, open up the call to other people. See, I'm getting mumbly now because I'm feeling stressed. Like I can feel the anxiety just thinking about it and talking about letting people down. It like gets to me. So just trying to be real here. I'm just, giving you guys an insight into what it's like from my side. And I also, obviously, I don't want to overlook like how lucky I am and how grateful I am for the people that apply. It's not always easy to find test knitters, especially in the larger sizes. So I appreciate every single application. I really, really do. But I gotta look after my noggin in the end. So test knit things might change a little bit. How did I get onto that? I was talking about blooming losing my knitting mojo. Oh my God. This is like a look inside my brain. Like you start one place and you end up in another place, and you probably go over a few places in the way. Oh look, there's a bird. Like that's my brain. Welcome to it. So yeah, let's calm down on the nitty chat now. Let's give you some recommendations. So first of all, hot new releases. First hot new release I have for you is a pair of socks. We've not had much sock chat over here for a while, have we? So this is a new pair of socks from one of my friends, Nicole, known as Professor Pearl. She has a podcast if you haven't seen it yet. And these are the Selena socks, and I will pop a picture. And they are a mohair sock. I'm really intrigued by the idea of like holding mohair in a sock. I really like that idea. Obviously mohair on feet isn't for everyone, but I think it would probably be for me. And they are like a very simple but textural and effective and very pretty sock. I love what she's done with them. It's like a rib but not a rib. Even small details, I'll try and do a little close-up for you, but in like the ribbed cuff, she's just like popped a little row of garter in there, which is lovely. Like I'd never think to do that. It's just one of those tiny little details, and these socks are full of these tiny little details. So there you go, Selena socks. That's your first hot new release. I believe they were released right at the end of March, so they've been out for about a month. The next hot new release is a cardigan, and again we're sticking with mohair here, and this is the Snowdrop cardigan by Along Avec Anna, and it is a stunner. Back in December or November, I think, Anna released the Snowdrop headband pattern, which is a free pattern, and it's this like beautiful kind of like lace, almost like scallop kind of thing, and she has since done a snowdrop hat, and she's now done a snowdrop cardigan, and it is like the snowdrop design is down the sleeve, and then I think the body is fisherman's rib, half fisherman's rib. I'm not too sure. Anyway, it's this lovely floaty light dreamy cardigan, perfect for spring summer. I can just see it. I mean, I can see it in white. It's called the Snowdrop white. It'd be lovely in white, just like over your shoulders, over a floaty dress. I think it'd be really, really beautiful. And while we're on the subject, congratulations Anna, who's just got married in the Cotswolds, which is my neck of the woods. So congratulations Anna, and congratulations on a beautiful pattern release. If you haven't seen Along Avec Anna, then first of all, where have you been? She does beautiful children's wear and adults wear, and she's just a really lovely person. So that's my next hot new release. And then the next hot new release is a double whammy, because not only is it a new pattern, but it is a new podcast. You may have heard me speaking about the wonderful Hannah from Herb Garden Knitwear before. I test knit her Seaborn tee, and she has recently released, that's a difficult one, recently released the Vivienne sweater. Ding! And it is it's this lovely kind of light, simple body, but with this gorgeous, I mean, is it lace? Is it cable? It's kind of neither. It's like traveling stitches, and it comes down from the rib. It spreads out in this beautiful point with these beautifully strategically placed bobbles, and it's just, it's so beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. Like, that's the word for it. Beautiful. It's really unique. I've not seen anything like it before, and I think this kind of decorative yoke, simple body thing is a really classic look, and it feels like that's something that couldn't really be replicated like on a machine or from like a shop or whatever. It just feels really unique. So congratulations, Hannah, on another wonderful new release. And that brings me on to Hannah's new podcast. I've been chatting to Hannah for a little while about doing a podcast, and she finally took the plunge and did it, and she's done such a brilliant job. There are now 2 episodes, I believe. I've only watched the first one because the second one I think came out yesterday. But she does things slightly differently, and it's so refreshing to watch. Hannah is a monogamous knitter, so she'll only really show one project per podcast, but she will also do another like section in the podcast about a specific like knitting subject. And in the first episode, it was all about yarn substitution. And even for me, who I feel like I've pretty much got to grips with yarn substitution now, it was still so interesting to hear, and I definitely learnt new things. Hannah's been designing and knitting for quite a while, and she's just got so much knowledge about it. It was just really nice. Like, it's just nice to have a different format, right? It's just, yeah, refreshing. So please, I implore you to go and check out Hannah's brand new podcast. Again, all the patterns I talked about, all the podcasts I talked about will be mentioned below. And my final recommendation for you today is another hot off the press, brand new podcast. And that is the Knit California podcast. Lovely Leslie was one of my test knitters for the original Souffle. And she's just a big old ball of fun. Like, she's so lovely. She just has this really nice energy. She's really knowledgeable. She does loads of like real tutorials about loads of different techniques and things, and she's just started her new podcast, and again, she's done a really, really good job. You wouldn't know that it was the very first episode. She talks about the souffle, which is really, really nice, and all the other projects she's working on at the moment. So again, I highly encourage you to go and check out Leslie. Let her know that I sent you, and let Hannah know that I sent you if you do, and hopefully you've got some brand new material there to check out. So I think that brings us to a natural end. Thank you so much for joining me. I completely forgot to do that in my intro. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this episode / please don't judge me by this episode because it's a bit all over the shop. I've got lots of podcasts, knitting vlogs, and a few little standalone videos for you to enjoy. And if you are watching and are returning, then welcome back. I'm sorry it's been a little while, but life. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't refrain on leaving me a comment if you want to chat about anything you've seen in this podcast, or if you've got a name suggestion for me cable thing, then please let me know. It was lovely to catch up with you again. It's been too long, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.